I wanted to say to the part of my fan base that has been complaining that I'm not posting enough every month. I mean, I haven't posted at all in the last week. It's just, I've been working super hard. Like, it's been tough doing my job, and hopefully I'll start making more time for you dudes. But definitely, I'll be putting in more time and hopefully start working less. I'm just joshing you. We like to have fun here, right, boys?
That could be a lot of things. None of them nice.
Quit it.
I'm just joshing you.
In my last video, I had the Gold and Silver brothers in it, and as some of you know, they got a hold of Hagoromo's ninja tools to assassinate the Raikage, and it gave me an idea. I thought to myself I could analyze the 5 sacred treasures of Six Paths Sage. I can't believe I haven't done this video yet since my channel's name was founded on this legendary character, so I spared no expense when it came to making this video. Each weapon has its own jutsu, or for lack of a better word, magical ability. These weapons all have an incredibly high damage effect, but in exchange, they have a just as high difficulty of use. First off, for some of the weapons, there are prerequisite criteria that needs to be said before the tool's jutsu activates, like a chant or a saying. One of the tools, the Amber Purifying Pot, needs a verbal response from the enemy before it wants to work. Another thing that makes these tools super difficult to use is that each one takes up an amount of chakra that would easily kill a person with just an average chakra reserve, which is why you'll only see the Gold and Silver brothers use these items for a moderate amount of time. The Bonisago, Kokinjo, and Shunseikan are 3 of Hagoromo's 5 weapons. They are a trio that's meant to be used in conjunction with each other to trap enemies in a ceiling. The wielder needs all 3 weapons or the target will not end up being sealed. Not only does the user need all 3 weapons, but they need to be used in a specific order. The golden canopy rope is meant to be used first. Kinkaku liked to wrap this weapon around his arm. Once the command bind and draw out is said, then all the user needs to do is punch the enemy with the arm or get the rope to make contact, and this will bring out their word soul. The rope's use is now over. The user's word soul will be needed for the next weapon. The Shitseikan is a 7-starred sword. This sword will cut the soul from its victim, but first there are more criteria that needs performed. The word curse needs to be uttered by its wielder. Next, the victim needs to say his or her most frequently uttered word. This word will appear on the blade to the user. If no words are spoken for a length of time, then that will also fulfill the user's requirement and the sealing can begin. One of the sword's abilities is to be able to fold in half to prevent the enemy from knowing what their most frequently spoken word is. The last weapon used in the sealing is the Crimson Gourd. To activate the gourd and finish the sealing, all the user needs to do is utter the word record, and then the enemy will be sealed inside of it. Also, if the most common word changes, the effects can be negated like in Darui's case. I know I said that Kinkaku and Ginkaku are the only ones to have used these weapons for any period of time, but there were people unfortunate enough to have found out that these tools will steal the wielder's life force. The best instance of this happening was Darui, the Raikage's next in line. When fighting the 2 brothers, he managed to get Ginkaku to bump into Kinkaku's golden canopy rope on accident, and this sent out his word soul. Then later in the fight, he stole the 7-star sword and the Crimson Gourd when finishing the sealing. So Darui was somehow able to use 2 of Hagoromo's weapons at once. Then later in the war, he still had enough chakra to use the Amber Purifying Pot on the older brother. Yeah, I mean, this is my headcanon, but there's just no way that Darui wasn't a descendant of Kaguya. I just don't see a normal person wielding 2 of the 5 of Hagoromo's weapons at once, and then another right after. The 4th weapon on my list is the Amber Purifying Pot. It was the only tool recovered from the Gold and Silver brothers after the attempted assassination of the Raikage. The Cloud Village has used this pot to store Gyuki when switching Jinchurikis, or if the host just lost control of the Eight Tails. I like this weapon a lot more. Unlike the last three, it only needs one command to seal the enemy, and the sealing is just as effective. There is a drawback to this tool though, and that's the wielder needs the target to verbally respond to the wielder. It can be any word, which is impossible if the enemy knows how the weapon works. Unless you have Ino to use mind transfer, the sealing of these weapons are so strong for both the gourd and the pot that even when Edo Tensei ended, the soul of the Gold and Silver brothers remained. Subsequently, their chakra was later used as a substitute for the Nine Tails chakra that was missing from the Ghetto statue. The last weapon is the only weapon that has nothing to do with sealing enemies. The Basosen. It is a palm fan that can create all 5 basic nature transformations just by the user's mental thoughts. And this fan was used once as a shield to protect Kinkaku from Darui's storm release laser circus, but I don't know how credible it stands as a defense weapon. Maybe it only blocks chakra natures. I'd personally rather have the Gunbai. There's too many requirements to use those 3 weapons. It's just not practical in a battle situation. But I guess it's perfect if you're up against an unkillable enemy like the Resurrected of Edo Tensei. Then sealings are about the only thing you can do. 1010 actually somehow was able to use this weapon. And let's not let this feat bash on Darui's. Just to recap, he used 2 of the 3 sealing weapons on Ginkaku, then had enough chakra to seal his brother with the purifying pot. And it's not like he had a ton of chakra to start out with either. He used it all up in former fights, as he just discussed before even battling with the Gold and Silver brothers. And then you have 1010. And then you have 1010 who passed out after blowing the fan twice, which is way more realistic outcome when the lore of it is that the user would die if it was used by someone who's not Jinchuriki level. The history of these weapons are that these weapons were once wielded by Hagoromo. I'm not sure, someone can tell me if they weren't or were made by him. After being brought into the 4th Great Ninja War, 1010 was able to seal them in a scroll before Madara began his infinite Tsukiyomi. She now has a store where she sells ninja tools and she keeps the relics as a display item. She only has 3 in her possession: the Crimson Gourd, the Golden Canopy Rope, and the Banana Palm Fan. The names Kinkaku and Ginkaku and Hagoromo's weapons are named after Chinese folklore of the 2 demon kings that journeyed west, and the tools were used to suck in and cook people they opposed. I'll leave a list of topics in the description. Feel free to comment what you want to see next. Don't forget to Rasengan that like button, and as always,
anime and manga for life, boy. Pow!
see ya.
I guess this is the end. Looking back, my life has been nothing but failure. The tale of Jiraiya the Gallant.